Yo, what is good, everybody? What is good, yo? This is exactly the thing that kind of puts into perspective the people who complain about the manga source material not being nearly as good and, flushed through in the Tokyo Ghoul compared to Black Clover. We're going to talk about Tokyo Ghoul and just how much crazy stuff is popping off. But if you didn't watch the previous seasons, you kind of have no idea who these characters are. And then guess what? If you even watch the previous seasons, you still kind of don't know who these characters are. Um, the main focus of this week's episode was, a couple characters that really didn't get much shine time throughout the first raid or through the ghouls making moves in the CGG or CGC or whatever they are. 'Cause right now I'm just focused on what they could be doing, comparative to what they are doing now. We have this girl going against the person that made her and her sister that we've only seen like 3 times, maybe less than four definitely. So to see her and to have like this huge character switch, from her and not really knowing exactly how her sister fully went out because if I remember, she was, she took her sister with her when Juso chopped him up and everything when he was still didn't even have defeated Jason yet. He took one of their eyes at one point, like, well, I don't even think he took her eye. He just stabbed it and it wasn't regenerating as fast, so that was a problem for her to try to actually combat like that. And of course, he remembers all of it. That's why his quote, if you run away from me twice, if you make an opponent retreat from you 2 times, they never have a chance of winning, which could be foreshadowing for his inevitable defeat by her, if she does somehow escape this freaking cluster of clones and weird one-eyed soldiers that pretty much are never going to see the light of day until this whole situation like blows over, in the sense of whenever the people who have all of this power starts to win and starts to be on top, that's when these people that are in these tubes or whatever, they're probably going to be the new frontline soldiers that take on humans, ghouls alike, so it's really getting crazy to think that a character that made Kamiki from the very beginning of the show somehow is become like this huge. Hold up. Oh, snap. Ooh, kill him. Nani?
超運動のは強い。
Yeah.
私このまま負けちゃうのかな。カオ殿、銀平殿。でも
Uh-oh.
諦めたくない。
He's gonna give it to Guan Yu?
超運動のや兄上たちを
Hold
取
up.
り戻すためにも
Turn
ま
up.
だまだ頑張らないと。
No way. Yeah. No way. Anyway. Uh. Oh crap. So, with all that being said, though, we get all of these instances of people that had very small cameos, very small, feed that would actually, make us be like, oh yeah, that character is really important because of so no, like they didn't have that much of a, um, they didn't have that much of just life in their characters to bring to the actual show to actually show us that this is what they're working for, all these different things. um, but then when we get any types of instances close to it, it's this kid that we watch being bested by the daughter of one of the craziest people that used to work for the investigation. But he wasn't even that crazy. He just wanted revenge for his wife that was taken by the one-eyed owl. And we almost saw her lose her life this week. But to think that that kid is an owl at this point, which now we know what an owl is, all of those containers that we saw this doctor opening were all considered owls in his eyes. So he only was making SS ranked freaking ghouls supposedly in these test tubes with these one eyes. And to think that we even get that much information about this the guy who's the owl right now and pretty much took out my favorite character in the show, the guy who should never be taken out by some lackey, bro. Are you kidding me? Oh my god, man. Like I was disappointed in the way that they took out my boy. How you gonna do him like that, bro? Like, nah. The guy with the red mask, I always butcher his name, but they took him out and I feel like the most self like fulfilling way ever, man. That hurt me to see something like that happen. You're telling me this guy who has been alive just like every other ghoul who's been chilling, or could have been eaten, getting stronger like everybody else. Supposedly ghouls that were, C class or S class now that Kamiki was hanging out with. Why can't he become stronger than he already was? So we get to that at the aspect of the show, and then you're telling me a guy who just became a ghoul who I want to let it make sense, but at the same time I want to fight it because seeing that he was tortured probably worse than how Jason tortured him because I mean, sure, he did look like he probably took in another persona, and that's why his hair maybe done that. And who knows who they actually fused his cells with? Yeah, that's one thing I don't think they said, unless it's Kamiki, because he wants to make the perfect. The doctor wants to make the perfect Kamiki. Um, but what I was looking at overall is just they literally put him through everything Kamiki did, but imagine no one trying to even save you. You don't break out and beat up the bad guy or not even beat him up. You don't eat the bad guy who's been torturing you the whole time. You go out and you start fighting for the people who pretty much did this to you, which they kept showing a flip between the old man being on the ghoul side and then the old man being working with the action in the hospital. So this was like the only time we can almost say that he's a human that's just working for the ghouls, and knowing how strong ghouls are, he can use their power to protect himself pretty much. It's what they're giving off, but come on, man, this guy's been experimenting all this time, and we've seen over like 3 or 4 different ghoul investigators now. So it wouldn't be any surprise to me if this guy has the best of the best ghoul thing that he's ever created so far, and he's about to show it off in this next week's episode or whenever he pops off. So expect that sooner or later. The one other thing that really kind of didn't make sense to me a whole lot was the fact that whenever they like to show all these characters having all these different things happening, Kamiki just got excluded out of this whole episode. Ottoman, the guy who Kamiki so quote unquote killed in the second season in a battle, he shows up, and he's fine. But he's a one-eyed ghoul, which they never went into any detail. Plus, he's trying to save the person that just literally bodied a whole bunch of people right in front of him that were also investigators. He's like, "You're an investigator." He's like, "Well, not really anymore. I just bodied all these people. I had bodied every investigator you see here." No, you're still an investigator, brother. Like, all right, man. uh, but overall, I don't know where else they can put all of this content because of how they did, just went at this in general, which is kind of sad. Because now they have all these characters that feel very lackluster and a lot of them build up to just fall. Um, and that I think that's what fell off short for me is how much we got of a build up for all of these like crazy S level ghouls that are already S levels, and then we give them some time to chill and get stronger, but somehow they're not stronger, huh? So that kind of threw me off. But overall, let me know what you guys were feeling about this week's episode. I do love the action. I do love the crazy. Oh my God, over here. Oh my God, who's this? Oh my God, what's that? Best person in the show was my boy that talked about the retreating 2 times. My God, did he look so dope in armored controlled Quinque or whatever they want to call it. Whenever his mentor did it, it did not look anything like that. And of course, they got to make your boy with the scythe look sick. He wasn't even using the scythe anymore because it definitely would just slow him down. Sure, it was pure power, but you take away all of that extra baggage and you give him full on speed. You see that we couldn't even see him this week. So I love that boy. I'm so glad that when he got stabbed in the chest, it wasn't the end for him. I kind of feel like when they zoomed in on the chest and showed the dent of the armor, I knew it was good because it felt like that armor that his predecessor wore. And maybe they like trimmed it down, or maybe they added it with the other guy who is retired pretty much. I don't even know what to think of the investors anymore, man. They're all pretty much ghouls, and if they're all ghouls, then doesn't that mean they should be killing each other? So Tokyo Ghoul is getting to me, man, in a good way. I really like to see something that has me thinking, but at the same time, I feel bad for all the people that do hate, the series as a whole. But if you can tell that I enjoy it and you can enjoy it through me, more power to you. But if you do hate it and you still are somehow watching it, more power to you because you got to see what's going on, and I respect it. I guess I would have done the same thing if I hated Dragon Ball Super. I probably would still watch it, but that's just because I love Dragon Ball Z. So with that, everybody, I will talk to you in the next one. I will be talking about Black Clover very soon here, so make sure you subscribe and drop a like. It would be greatly appreciated. You don't have to. It's just there, just waiting for you to push it. But don't. Oh, you did it. Ah, thanks. All right, everybody. Peace.